Some people say they'd rather have dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Others say, well, give me peaceful slavery over dangerous freedom. But one thing is for sure. If the problem with the world is that there are evil people in the world, then probably the last thing you want to do is give some of those evil people authority and something called qualified immunity. That's why we're going to talk about this guy right here. This is Sheriff Carmine Marceno, and this video right here was done by Tyler Oliveira, and the name of the video is Inside Florida's Insane $250 million a year cop city, where they highlight Carmine Marceno. Now, I get people wanting to be safe, but do you want America to give way to a police surveillance state in order to feel safe, or would you rather empower yourself? I'm going to go through some clips from this video by this YouTuber because I thought it was really interesting. But before we do, there was a story on this sheriff that I want to show you, because this kind of shows you that there's a different perspective with regard to the policing that this sheriff tries to initiate in Lee County, Florida.
No matter what's down on paper, what you allow, what you present, what you say, that's what your subordinates are going to follow.
Jumpsuits are red, justice is sweet. Commit a crime in Lee County and your ass will get beat.
If you have a boss that's coming out and talking about, beating people, obviously there's forethought involved, and you're trying to send a message.
Commit a crime in Lee County and your ass will get beat.
When you make statements like that, and then we have potential alleged events like this, people connect the dots. The community connects the dots.
I love that. Potential alleged events like this, there's no allegation at all. It's videotaped, and this sergeant actually abused a member of the public. There's no allegation, though.
On August 11th, 45-year-old Corey Samick says he took a beating from then LCSO Sergeant Christopher Meyer outside this gas station in Tice while two deputies watched. Some of that arrest was captured on security camera. Samick filed a complaint against the deputies involved and the sheriff.
Look at this guy's face. That is just out of control.
Sheriff's office from behind bars, sparking an investigation by the state attorney's office and LCSO. Neither office will provide us their reports, citing an ongoing criminal investigation. However, Meyer gave me an exclusive copy of his internal affairs summary. It recounts his first conversation with Assistant State Attorney Janisha Beckford. She explains to him how the charges against Samick could be dropped due to the extent of his injuries. Meyer responds saying, quote, he was okay with that decision as Mr. Samick was sentenced on scene.
I told the state attorney that when they called to follow up with me. I go, as far as I'm concerned, he's already been sentenced. I don't care.
Are you kidding me? Justice was administered at the scene? You said that? That to me is a terminable offense right off the bat.
Because in the law enforcer's mind, he is judge, jury, and executioner on the scene. And he's going to determine whether you committed a crime worthy of punishment.
LCSO Defensive Tactics Coordinator Captain Scott Griffith deemed the level of force used by Meyer in the video appeared to be in accordance with LCSO policy and procedures.
In my experience, I really haven't seen a policy that allows for punches to the face. If you're under attack, that's a different story.
LCSO's response to resistance policy states that deputies shall not strike or use physical force against any person except when necessary in self-defense.
So they went against their own policies, procedures, and protocols, and they violated their sworn oath to protect and serve the public. And they deprived a member of the public under the color of law
in defense of another to overcome physical resistance to arrest.
The guy's hands were down the whole time. He did not make a threatening gesture.
Marceno announced on Facebook that Meyer and two other deputies were fired and focused on the finding use of force that was not properly reported and documented. He referred to the lack of reporting and documenting twice in the first 4 lines, begging the question, would Meyer have been allowed to keep his job had he filed the proper paperwork?
So it sounds like he wasn't fired because he beat a member of the public. He was fired because he didn't fill out the report properly. That's what it sounds like.
Meyer believes.
But wait till you see the tools and the gadgets and the surveillance apparatus that this sheriff has set up in Lee County. It will blow your mind.
The answer is yes.
It was just a matter of the paperwork. Paperwork didn't get done. That's on me.
Paperwork Meyer says Marceno didn't have on hand when he was told about Samick's complaint.
I think that's the main reason that they came down the way that they did, is because they got blindsided, they got made to look bad, the whole agency got turned upside down. And it was always projected at the sheriff's office that if you get into something and you get called into IA or you get called in by a supervisor, and if you tell them the truth and you tell them this is why, that they will take care of you.
Marcino posted a reaction to this story on Facebook last night, claiming it was one-sided. So,
in other words, we will investigate ourselves and we will find that our officers committed no wrongdoing.
you know, we reached out to the Lee County Sheriff's Office for an interview with the sheriff last week. They asked us for a deadline. We gave it to them, and then we heard nothing. In his Facebook post, he also stated, quote, "In the Public Affairs Office, we run several, if not dozens, of scripts for videos." He went on to say, "I immediately decided not to use this video as this did not represent my views on use of force." So I would like to ask the sheriff, why did you record the video in the first place? I also put in a public information request for the other videos he mentions in his post.
Good question. Why did you make those videos in the first place? Now we're going to turn our attention to Marcino, Sheriff Marcino, and this YouTuber went into the actual nerve center of the Lee County Sheriff's Office and check out the gadgets they have to deploy against you under the guise of going after real criminals.
If you deal fentanyl and it results in someone dying, I'm going to charge you with homicide. In Lee County, Florida, you deal poison, we're hunting you down.
And this guy loves saying this kind of stuff. We will hunt you down. We're going to get you. We're going to beat you, in his own words.
Defenseless dog had its mouth duct taped closed, its paws duct taped together. And this oxygen stealer was a person of interest, but if I could, I would duct tape his mouth shut and his legs together.
And let's make no mistake, there are oxygen stealers among us. They are breathing the same air that you do, and they are horrible to other human beings, and they are horrible to animals, and they do need to be punished accordingly and appropriately. But do we want Marcino to be the one to do it, and his henchmen? Because this guy's got a beefed up, militarized force to deploy against anybody he thinks is committing a crime.
First door, Lee County, many more to come.
Oh, and that'll put Sheriff Marcino himself to figure out why they spend so much money, where it goes, and if it keeps people more safe. Oh, this is your office.
Look at these guys. Look at these guys. They got the military in Lee County coming up against you. They got robotic dogs. We're going to see the drones that they put in the air. We're going to see the combat micro drones that they launch against us.
People more safe. Oh, this is your office. This is sick. Oh, look at this. We will have law and order. That's your mantra.
We will. That's right.
That's seemingly a rare mantra these days.
Now, why is this important?
It's the Marcino Mansion, right?
Look at this nerve center. That is basically the headquarters from which they operate and surveil from hundreds of cameras all around Lee County, surveilling everybody under the guise of, hey, we're keeping you safe from criminals. And this is why I constantly think about what Benjamin Franklin said. If you give up just a little bit of essential liberty to procure politically promised security or law enforcement promised security, then you deserve either liberty or security.
Yeah. I don't want to have to call people to get what's going on. So as you walk over, first and foremost, okay, calls for service. Today we're up to 972 calls. Yesterday, 1689. This week, 4289. This month, 50,284. This year, 261,879 calls.
Okay.
You can see we're running hard. But now you come over here. It shows all the precincts.
Also, what I always think about is when anybody does a video on the sheriff's department, they are specialists in propaganda. They are going to make sure that no matter whatever audience views this video, they're going to see the Lee County Sheriff's Department in this specific case and the sheriff himself and all his deputies in the best possible light.
4th precinct, 5th precinct, 7th precinct, 300 plus cameras in Department of Transportation. I know
300 plus cameras in the Department of Transportation. including, I have no doubt, license plate reading cameras. So the people that he's saying commit crimes are the people who just want to put things in their body that they want to put in and the sheriff's department doesn't want them to. Their registration was out of date. Maybe your window tint is too dark, like we saw with Tuapre the other day. And now our officers can go over there and harass you and economically terrorize you and possibly steal your property under civil asset forfeiture laws, which he gets into a little bit in this video.
What's going on right now any place in this county. Aviation, if they're up, whoever's working, I can click on their camera right now and I can watch their interaction.
Can I see it?
Live Google. This is a big deal. And
What do you mean live Google?
So I'm going to show you right now. I can tell you where everybody is, what they're doing, and then I can also bring up, you know, any intersection I want in the county.
Okay.
Right now.
So you're bringing up live CCTV cameras right now?
Bringing up live cameras.
Wow. You have eyes and ears everywhere.
You can tell the sheriff loves this. He loves the power. He loves the eyes everywhere. It's almost like he can play God and get away with it. Is it? Let me ask you, as you were watching this video, leave a comment. We got more to watch here, but leave a comment. Do you want to live in a surveillance state? Is that what's going to keep you safe? Is it more important for you to feel safe, you know, whether it's real or just perceived, or to be free?
Everywhere.
Because we've seen Lee County and we've seen other sheriff's departments and deputies in areas around Florida mess with, like, the armed fishermen, mess with Jeff Gray from Honor Your Oath Civil Rights Investigations, violating their rights, actually viewing Jeff Gray and Mike from the armed fishermen as criminals just for exercising their rights. We've seen that. You won't see that in this video right here, and Marceno won't talk about it, but it's there.
I can go to
because he's grouping us in with the real criminals.
Any intersection and pull it up right now. So if there's a crash, if someone says we're in a pursuit, whatever it might be, it shows me right now. Plus, it shows me every single person working. The stars are where my deputies are. It tells me what they're doing, what they're on, what calls for service. It's important for me to have my finger on the pulse constantly.
It's a traffic stop right here.
So this is Deputy Austin.
Did you hear that? And look at his mannerisms. It's important for me to have my fingers on the pulse constantly. I need to know everything that's going on at all times. This is a power tripper to the nth degree.
Have my finger on the pulse constantly.
Constantly. I've got to know what's going on. I've got to be in control. That's an authoritarian, folks.
It's a traffic stop right here.
So this is Deputy Austin, and right now I can see his body-worn camera. So it's as if we're
That's
on
insane.
scene. We got this county locked down.
This can't be cheap.
We've got this county locked down? That almost sounds like Prison Planet to me.
But I imagine crime isn't cheap either. Does this save money overall by preventing people from doing crazy
So
stuff?
A couple things, right?
Yeah.
First, what's the cost of life? Is it $1? Is it $3 million? What's the cost of a life? For me, there's no cost to protect lives. Secondly, utilizing grants.
For me, there's no cost to protect life. I think he misspoke there.
Drug money, forfeiture money, and plus
using forfeiture money. Now, what have we learned in the past years about civil asset forfeiture, which he's probably one of the sheriffs, I have no doubt, one of the 3,087 sheriffs who signed that document by Sheriff Jim Skinner begging Dan Crenshaw from Texas not to go through with H.R. 1525, which would severely limit civil asset forfeiture. This guy, what we've learned about it is it's not the Mexican drug cartels. It's not the drug dealers who get caught up and get their property stolen by these cops who love civil asset forfeiture. It's just everyday Americans like Stephen Lara. Remember him with the Nevada Highway Patrol? They stole $87,000 of his life savings as he was trying to make his way toward California from Texas to visit with his daughters. They stole his life savings, and the only reason they gave it back was because the Institute for Justice exposed them, and they got tons of outraged Americans calling them, and they're like, oh, this is bad PR for us. We need to go ahead and return the money to Stephen Lara. They're not catching real criminals. They're actually terrorizing genuine Americans, innocent Americans.
our general fund and our budget. When you take drugs and guns off the streets, the crime rate goes down and the quality of life goes up. And Lee County is really, leading the way.
At the very least, increase police presence with more
Look at these guys
on the ground. And
look at these guys. They're wannabe military men.
Sheriff Marcino's social media conquest has seemed to communicate to criminals that if you commit a crime in Lee County, they will find and they will arrest you, which should deter them from acting a fool and committing crimes in Lee County. In addition to overall presence in the community, Lee County is taking innovative measures.
Does this count eradicating the crimes committed by the Lee County Sheriff's Department as well? Because nobody can do crime like a sheriff or police department.
When it comes to incorporating new technology like this robot dog, Robbie.
Okay, so they go over this robot dog and they talk about the technology that they are going to and are willing to deploy against you and fund their agency to buy. They talk about the drones that are in the air, that they're constantly surveilling people around the state, of course, to keep you safe. And then they talk about this little military gadget.
This is our Black Hornet stealth drone.
What?
It's a little helicopter and it fits.
Black Hornet stealth drone that they use in the military, but it's also approved for law enforcement to be deployed against who? Oh, that's right, against you and me.
It's in the palm of your hand. We are the first law enforcement agency to purchase this in the country. This is typically for military purposes,
okay,
but now they opened it up to law enforcement. And we'll utilize this if we need to be more stealth mode, just to get into very small spaces, like I mentioned, an attic or over a rooftop to see what's going on top of the roof. So this can maneuver in very, very tight spaces where the bigger drones cannot. So,
is there a world where they could just explode at some point and just be used as like mobile detonation units?
Watch this cop's face. Look at this cop's face. He's like, I can't answer that. He said, is there a future where you can see these things being deployed and then just, setting off some kind of an explosive as a payload? And look at this cop. Explosives on the general public? We would never do that.
It's like, look at that little antenna. It's a great observation. This thing is extremely quiet right now. Little tablet in hand. This looks like a delicate procedure right now.
Okay, so he talks about, hey, because of what we've managed to do, because of the resources we've used to fund all this and accumulate all this technology, our crime rate has dropped.
Proud to say our violent crime is down and crime rate is down, the lowest it's ever been. And you know what? We're not apologizing for keeping people safe.
Okay, sure. What are some strategies you're using to keep Lee County safe out here?
The safety of the people will always be the alibi of tyrants. And don't get me wrong, I think these are good intentions. It's good to drop crime, but good intentions will always be pleaded for every assumption of authority. These people want the ring of power. They want to have the technological equipment to deploy against you. And when people get power, that power ends up corrupting them. And more specifically, power draws and attracts the corruptible like a magnet.
Working smarter and harder, utilizing the latest and greatest technology. By the way, while we're talking here, technology is going to change, right?
Sure.
Staying up to date with it, making certain that our residents know that we have all the tools, worst case scenario to best case scenario, to keep them safe. And people understand, you commit a crime in Lee County, we will find you using the latest and greatest technology, and we will hunt you down, and you will go to jail and be charged according. So that's why people come to Florida.
He loves saying that. We will hunt you down. That's why people come to Florida, because they know that we are going to keep you safe. So define crime. Because for these guys, a crime is when you break a law of a politician, no matter what the law is. Window tinting, you didn't activate your turn signal when they thought you should. You didn't have your license plate illuminated like it should be. You were going a little too fast. You don't have your registration done. We think that you're acting suspicious. You're carrying a firearm from this fishing hole to that. Well, obviously you're committing a crime. Or you're out here panhandling like they say to Jeff Gray. I mean, there is constant abuse of authority. And the way they painted this video right here was, hey, we're just the good guys. We're eliminating the bad guys from the equation so you can have a safe society.
Sheriff, I know you're a busy man. If there are any criminals out there plotting anything right now, what would you say to them?
My message to the criminals is very safe, and it's absolutely 100% true. Don't come to Lee County, Florida. Don't come to Florida. We have great sheriffs and law enforcement officers throughout the entire state, led by our great governor, Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis wants law and order. Our senators, our state attorneys, everywhere want law and order. So if you want to live life and love life with sunshine and palm trees, you come to the state of Florida. We love you. We love everybody. Drug dealers, people that want to commit crime, have a good day. Don't come.
And for any criminals trying to run and barricade themselves indoors, Lee County's explosives unit will find a way in.
So they go over the Lee County explosives unit. But I do want to ask you, do you trust a person who has this much power and wants his finger on the pulse of everything that's going on and is willing to deploy the resources to accumulate what appears to me to be military style, military outfitted individuals so that they can keep your streets safe? Do you want a police state, surveillance state, George Orwell 1984 dystopian society so that you can feel like you're safe from criminals when these guys might be the true criminals you really need to worry about? Leave your thoughts about this and about this sheriff right here in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you haven't done so already, check out my brand new website called The Disturbing Illusion, where we talk about and expose the left versus right paradigm lie. There's a couple of last videos that I just uploaded that you really need to take a look at, because what's happening is law enforcement follows the edicts of political parasites, and we need to know what those political parasites are up to, whether they're left or they're right. If you want to support the channel further, grab a hard-hitting conversation starting design you can put on a shirt, hoodie, mug, hat, cell phone case, pillowcase, wherever you want. Become a channel member. But more importantly, realize that the price of freedom is now and will always be eternal vigilance. And indifference to this notion is the means by which the people have and will secure their own oppression. Stop securing your own oppression and start today. I will see you in the next video.